Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. What's up, folks? I'm your host, the DGen Doc, and we are continuing with our Division Series preview. And we are going on to none other than the AFC West. That is right, folks. Just like we did for every other division, I'm going to give out my four best bets, my four best player prop bets for the AFC West. Of course, 7 out of 8. This is the 7th division. So we've done 6. So definitely check those out if you're interested. But today it's all about the AFC West. And look, guys, you get in fast because we are doing this one day before NFL kickoff. I'm trying to get you the latest and greatest best odds and values. I know you don't want to wait till Thursday for football with the Ravens and the Chiefs. So go on and get some football action today and let's beat these books. All right, folks, let's go over to Los Angeles first. Look, the AFC West is a division where it's been dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs of late. But you got 3 teams with, some quarterback changes, some head coach changes, a lot of mystery. And I think with mystery can provide some opportunities in the betting markets. So we're heading out to LA and we're heading to a guy who I believe can be their true wide receiver number 1. And that is Joshua Palmer. Give me Joshua Palmer over 700.5 receiving yards at minus 115 now over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Listen, guys, I know what you're thinking. Why are we talking about a wide receiver by a Jim Harbaugh-led team? Look, you still got Justin Herbert on the team. I understand Jim Harbaugh wants to come over here and make this a Michigan-esque team, Michigan Light, whatever you want to call it, take Ann Arbor and put it in LA. And I know he wants to run the ball, but let's be honest. You have Justin Herbert, who his arm talent is one of the biggest assets on your team. They're going to have to throw the ball. I also don't expect this team to be one of the best teams. I think they struggle out of the gates. I think they're down in a lot of games and they have to throw from behind. But regardless, 700.5 receiving yards is a very low number. Josh Palmer is the leading returning receiver. I mean, the Chargers got rid of everybody. They got rid of their entire running back and wide receiver and tight end room, and they kept Josh Palmer. And I think they kept Josh Palmer for a reason. They saw the potential that he has. He's a big play wide receiver. He averaged over 15 yards a catch last season. So he doesn't need that many targets. So if you're worried about the volume, if he gets somewhere around 50, 60 targets, you're there. So I really like Josh Palmer, not only in the betting markets and the fantasy aspect as well. I think he's someone who's very slept on. I think he's a great waiver wire pickup. And I think he's a guy who has real potential to be that wide receiver 1. I mean, he's competing against a bunch of unproven guys, whether it's Lab McConkey, a rookie who struggled to stay healthy at at Georgia, and be the dude at Georgia. So why do I think he's going to come in and do that at the NFL? Quentin Johnson experiences Quentin Johnson just dropped another ball, right? I mean, it's what he happened. So Joshua Palmer is a guy who has that chemistry with Herbert, who I think is that true Chargers wide receiver number 1. So give me his over 700.5 receiving yards at minus 115. Courtland Sutton heading down to the Denver Broncos, another wide receiver who I'm going to be targeting, but this time it's going to be in the receiving touchdowns market. So give me Courtland Sutton over 5.5 receiving touchdowns at plus 110, getting a nice plus money on this. Courtland Sutton is a guy who has really shown that he can be consistent despite some awful, awful quarterback play, whether it's been old Joe Flacco, Jarrett Stidham, Russell Wilson, Drew Lock. He has really been consistent. I mean, even with that Cole 2 quarterback system type of figuring it out with Russ, not really figuring it out last year and bringing in Stidham even with a winning record. He had 10 touchdowns, 10 receiving touchdowns last year. He had more touchdowns than double the amount of anyone else on the team, right? I think Javonte Williams finished with 5, both rush and receiving. So, that would obviously equal his 10, but 10 receiving touchdowns. And now it's not like they really traded or brought anyone in. They traded away Jerry Jeudy and Brian Johnson, who was 2nd and 3rd in receiving touchdowns. So, I understand that Reynolds comes in and can potentially be a good piece. I'm not super high on Marvin Mims. What are we going to get at Adam Troutman? I mean, Courtland Sutton is the guy. And we talk about quarterback situation. Now, Sean Payton, has his guy in Bo Nix. He has his quarterback that he drafted. So it's hard to imagine it's really going to be worse when, Payton made it work with a quarterback that he clearly hated in Russell Wilson. So I love Courtland Sutton this year. Another guy I think who's getting slept on. And I think he's going to produce no matter the situation. I think Bo Nix comes in, gives him good opportunity, get some receiving touchdowns because, the Broncos aren't projected to be a very good team. I think their win total is sitting at 6.5 right now, maybe even 5.5. So pretty low there. They would expect them to be playing from behind a lot. You play in a division with the Chargers, with the Chiefs. I think the Raiders are going to score a little more points. So I think this is an opportunity where Courtland Sutton is going to have the touchdown opportunities. They're going to have to throw. And who else are they throwing it to there in Denver? All right, folks, we are halfway through my AFC West best player prop bets. And you know what that means? It's time for Trophy Smack. That is right, folks. Look, it's draft season. Draft season's here, but it's not only about the draft when we talk about Trophy Smack. Yes, they have the draft boards, which at this point, unless you're doing a draft tomorrow and you're expediting shipping, or you're doing one where you kind of say, forget the Thursday night game, which I've seen. We're talking about Trophy Smack in the way that they have championship belts. They have trophies. There's nothing better than you win a fantasy league to have those bragging rights over your friends. So why not have the last place guy buy a Trophy Smack championship belt or a Trophy Smack championship trophy? And you can do all that and get some awesome discounts. So we're going to put that link in the description there in the show notes. Make sure you check out Trophy Smack. All right, folks, continuing on with my AFC West best player props, and we're gonna head over to Las Vegas to talk about those Raiders. Look, Zamir White. I don't care what anybody else has to say. Zamir White is the guy in Las Vegas. I don't want to hear. We all saw what happened with the Alexander Madison experience. Awful, off the train tracks. Whatever negative connotation words you want to throw out there, did not go well. Why are we thinking that he's going to take away touches from a guy in Zamir White who showed a lot of promise at the end of last season? So I'm taking Zamir White over 800.5 rushing yards at -105. Ever since Antonio Pierce took over the Las Vegas Raiders from Josh McDaniels, he developed a hard-nosed football type of approach. He wants to play good defense, and he wants to hand the ball off and control the clock and run the damn ball. He was winning games with his quarterback throwing less than 100 yards, right? So in those last 4 weeks, Zamir White was the guy. He averaged nearly 100 yards a game in those last 4 weeks. They were really putting it on teams. He was getting them there, whether it's by volume or I think this offensive line is an improved offensive line. They picked up the rookie out of Oregon. Colton Miller is one of the best tackles in the game. So I think Zamir White is going to be the clear running back one. I think he's going to have all the opportunity in the world. And I think this Raiders team is going to be pretty successful. I think they have a really good defense. They're going to run behind that. They're going to run behind that nice offensive line. And I think they're going to surprise some people and actually be salting away some leads late in games. I think Zamir White is going to be a, touches monster. I think he's going to get a bunch of touches, similar to Josh Jacobs, right? Josh Jacobs, the argument was, hey, he's not the most efficient guy, but the numbers were there because he got that volume. He got those touches. So give me Zamir White over 800.5 receiving yards. And then we are ending it with a doozy. We're ending it with heading over to Kansas City, and we're going to talk about a guy who is no stranger to living life in the fast lane there, and that is Chiefs wide receiver Rashi Rice. Look, let's not even get into the situation as far as from ethical moral standpoint of, hey, should he be playing, should he not be playing? He has a late court date. It's set for sometime in December. All indications are pointing to him, if he was to be suspended either late in the kind of playoffs or getting into the playoffs of this season, or really more realistically next season is when he's going to kind of get that suspension. So this is a guy that I was absolutely avoiding at first, not knowing what's going on with those legal situations. I thought he'd 100% be suspended. He wasn't suspended for personal conduct by the league yet. They're waiting for the court case to go through. So this gives us an opportunity. I'm taking Rashi Rice, 7+ receiving touchdowns at +300. He hit this last year in his rookie season. This is a guy that really kind of built some chemistry with Mahomes very quickly, and then he became that Chiefs wide receiver one. Obviously, Kelsey is the number one wide receiver, but he had 2 more touchdowns in the regular season than Travis Kelsey. Like, this guy really produced in the red zone. So you give me 3-1 odds for him to basically do what he did last year, but now he has another year working with Patrick Mahomes, another year developing that chemistry. I really think that they have the potential to do something special. You got Hollywood Brown already out with that SC joint dislocation. He's going to probably be out until closer to week 3, week 4. You got Xavier Worthy, who's an explosive player, struggled with some injuries in college. How much is he going to be a boomer bust guy? I like Rashi Rice in the red zones particularly. I think that he's a little bit more of that possession wide receiver. He's a bigger target than Xavier Worthy. And, all the attention is going to be on Travis Kelce. So that leaves a lot of opportunity for Rashi Rice. I think this is a guy who can do this really in 15, 12 to 15 games. I don't even think he needs the whole 17 because of how productive he was last season. So I love Rashi Rice to get over 7 receiving touchdowns at plus 300. All right, folks, we're going to do a quick little wrap up, go over all the bets real quick, and then we are going to get on out of here. So we had Josh Palmer, Chargers wide receiver, over 700.5 receiving yards at minus 115. We had Denver wide receiver Courtland Sutton, over 5.5 receiving touchdowns at plus 110. Then we had Zamir White, over 800.5 rushing yards at minus 105. And finally, Rashi Rice, 7+ or more receiving touchdowns at a nice 3-2-1. All right, folks, that is the best bets for the AFC West, the best player prop bets. Make sure you get in on them soon because we got NFL kickoff coming right the way. Like I said, this is number 7 of 8 for the AFC West. About to lock in the AFC North here in a little bit. So at this point, when you're listening to this, all 8 should be out. So, hey, maybe you're just interested in one particular division. You want to kind of bounce around. Hey, I encourage you to check them all out because they're all opportunities for you to make some money, whether you tail or whether you fade. Hey, best of luck to you. The NFL is finally here. Definitely check us out here at IDP Plus Bets. We are a newer channel. It's really our first season as we're getting going here. Obviously, we've had experience in the betting game for years, but give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe, give us your feedback because the best thing about winning bets is winning with a fun community and building kind of that IDP Plus family. And that's what we're trying to do here, folks. So we appreciate you. We hope you have a wonderful week and get ready for football, baby. From the doc, I am out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.